Good evening, everyone. You are looking at Niilo Alhovaara. Did I pronounce that correctly, Niilo?
That's
Okay.
beautiful, Linda.
Okay. And you're actually looking at our teaser slide for using Google Plus Hangouts to connect globally. A conversation with Niilo Alhovaara. And here we are. We have 3 people from Europe, and 1 from Haiku, and 1 from Makawao. And we'll have a couple more Hawaii people come on. So we're very excited about tonight because we've never really had a deep discussion with people from Sweden and about education, which is really fantastic. It's exciting just to even think about it. So I will go across the board, and if Tina, if you would introduce yourself, we have a rich cast of players tonight. Tina, would you start off, please?
Okay, thank you, Linda. It was so fantastic. You invited me here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Finland.
Oh,
Finland. So it's a neighbor from Sweden. Yeah, no problem.
Already I messed up. Sorry.
Brothers and sisters here in Scandinavia. And I'm working for the Finnish National Board of Education at the moment as a project coordinator and coordinating projects dealing with internationalization of school. So that's, and a bit about the new curriculum and ICT and so on, but that's my main thing.
Neat. And that is a whole hangout in itself. I'll have to talk to you about that later on. Put you on the spot. Okay, Niilo's going to be our guest, so we'll go with him last. Holly?
Hi.
Could you tell us who you are?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute my mic. You can hear me now, yeah? I'm Holly Gates. I'm the librarian at Haiku Elementary School on the island of Maui.
Nice. And Kim?
Kim is eating breakfast.
Yes, I was about to say that. The kids are up, the washing machine is empty, the tumbler is running, and breakfast is right here.
Kim, do you have your new washing machine now?
Yes, and
Very
they're
good.
working wonderfully.
Great,
Washing machine and tumbler. So I'm an IT administrator at a school, upper secondary school in southern Sweden, in Malmö. And I'm just up.
We're so glad all these early birds are up. I don't know if they're early birds in real life, but so glad that you all could come. Okay, so what we're going to do now is Niilo's going to introduce himself, and then I'm going to have you go right into the topic, Niilo, if that's okay, how you use Hangouts to connect globally, and then whatever you want to share would be fine. And then we'll do a discussion of whatever comes up, so pretty loose.
Sounds great. Just winging it the way I love to do it. No planning, zero planning. I just must apologize to start with. My voice must be pretty awful, and it is just barely functional since I have this awful cold. We've actually had, I think, the summer of the century in the Nordic area. I mean, an amazing summer. Yeah?
I thought you just froze. Maybe it was just me. I'm not sure.
Amazing summer anyway, but now I guess I got something for my sins, whatever, and this awful cold has been plaguing me like for 2 weeks, and well, I try to cope, but if it gets really bad, then I just mute myself, and all you other guys, I know you can run this thing just fine without me, so that's great. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm a teacher in very northern Sweden, and luckily I have some of those guys with me here who know a lot more about international collaboration, I believe, than I do. I have my roots in Finland, actually, just like Tina, who is located in Finland, which I am not. I've been living in Sweden for quite a few years, I guess you'd say. Let's see, mathematics is not my primary subject. 35 years in Sweden, at least, I think, by now. And I've been into teaching for, well, not that long, so 15, 16 years, whatever, only. And perhaps, well, most of that time here in the very north. So my location is like 1 hour jet flight north of Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden. So way up north. And Hangouts, well, how long have we been doing this stuff, Tina? Like a year or something like that, I think?
Yeah, at least. I think maybe longer.
1.5, season 2,
Yeah.
rolling on.
Yeah,
There
I
is
think
just such amazing opportunity in using Hangouts in education, and well, I've started working with my colleagues, and obviously there are quite a few teachers, people in education, generally speaking, who do amazing stuff with their students as well, and I guess that's the way where we should be heading as well. But both things are important, I think. I guess that's briefly about that.
So how did you all three meet? And did you say that? Did you know each other, all know each other before?
Well, no, not all of us. Tina and me, we knew each other pretty well from the European school collaboration world. The European Union is putting quite a lot of effort into getting schools connected, and that's where we met, and we can get back to that later, since there are actually possibilities for connecting with other countries outside of Europe as well in that context.
And what age level are you thinking now? Is it university, or I know Kim said he's in secondary education, which is different from our secondary education, where secondary is high school to us, so it's ages 14 to 18. But
Yeah,
secondary in Europe is 16 to 20, correct?
Yeah, like it's a bit different. You can compare those systems. Well, it's the same thing in many European countries as well. It doesn't match exactly. But my students are 13 to 15, and when they leave our school here, there's like, in most cases, if they continue studying, they study like, say, 3 more years, and after that it might be the university level studies.
I see.
Yeah, in Finland we have the similar. We have we call it basic education, which is for everybody from preschool, which they attend at 6, to lower secondary, which ends at 9. So from preschool to grades 9, this is the basic education that everybody should finish, and after that they can choose upper secondary, which is upper secondary general or upper secondary vocational education. So that's where they divide into 2 sectors: general education, which leads to university or vocational, but these days you can also take the vocational route and go to university through that. So it's not so strong, the division, but that's it, and it's about half and half, I think, about 50% going to general education 3 years and 50% to vocational.
I think the structure is pretty much the same in Sweden, the basic structure. There are definitely differences, especially as to the vocational part, which I think, I guess I shouldn't say too much about that since I'm not connected to that directly, but I don't think it has been working, say, top-notch in Sweden. And there have been lots of discussions about that. But the basic structure, I think, is pretty much the same.
Interesting. We were, well, it wasn't Sweden or Finland, but we had 3 student exchange students from Maui, went to Europe, to Italy, France, and Spain. And the one thing that they were impressed with is that there wasn't any homework. Is that true in Sweden and Finland?
Say again, was there hardly any homework?
No homework.
No homework, okay.
No homework. Very stringent, different from U.S., very stringent, which they liked. They loved it. Stringent in the
Tina,
classroom.
what do you say, Tina? Tons of homework in Finland, huh?
In Finland, we have lots of homework, yeah, absolutely. We have quite a short school days compared to many other countries. School in basic education, the school days last maximum 6 hours if you don't have any clubs or anything like that. So they have six from 8 till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and but they have lots of homework, and yeah, and it's for example in my subject, which is English as foreign language, it's every time they get always homework, because I think it's very good for your learning that you learn for short periods but many times instead of one very long time and then nothing in a week. So it's important that they have these inputs of English as often as possible, so homework is used. But I think in Finland we cover a lot, I think quite a lot of homework, yeah. And students who don't do their homework, they have to stay after school and do their homework at school then after, when everybody else goes home. So it's tough.
Yeah. You guys are tough.
tough.
That's why Finland is doing so well.
Here comes Alistair. Hi,
Hey.
Alistair.
Good morning.
Thank you for
Hello.
coming. Hi there. We're going to put you on the spot and have you introduce yourself right away before you even put your lower third up. How's that?
No mercy, Alistair.
No mercy.
I had a little sign last time I was on this, but it seems to have disappeared. But,
You can fix that. You just got to load that, whatever it's called, Hangout toolbox from the left side of your screen. But why don't you get the introduction done first?
Yep. Greetings from a hotel room in the north of Sweden. I'm not an awful long way away from Niilo at the moment. Actually,
Where are you, Alistair?
I'm in Umeå.
Oh, it's just 3 hours car ride or whatever.
Just a bit south.
Next door, basically, for us here.
I've been listening. I was listening on the YouTube feed, so I've heard you've been talking a lot about schools and so on. I'm from a university in the southeast of Sweden, right down in the southeast corner on the Baltic coast. I'm up here for a conference. I work with sort of everything to do with e-learning, basically. I try to keep abreast of what's happening in the world, share and disseminate what I find. I write an awful lot of blog posts and articles, conference appearances, all that sort of stuff. You know, I'm the guy who I like to find all the interesting stuff that's going around, and then throw it out, and hoping that the teachers will pick it up and do things with it. I go around finding stuff, so I know a little bit about a lot.
Alistair, you're a Twitter junkie, huh?
And other things.
Wow. I'm stunned by all the talent in this group.
I'm
You
just
too,
so-
Holly. I don't even know what to ask. There's just so many things to cover. I mean, what do we can't
Linda,
all do it. You can't
Linda,
do
why,
it
why
all
don't
today.
why don't you
Yes, Nick.
tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
We've been talking a bit, and we were lucky enough to have you in our amazing show, Beast Modern Era, last time. But why don't you tell a little bit about
Yeah.
what you do, like on a daily basis?
Well, my life is pretty normal. I've been the school librarian at a private school here on the island of Maui for many years, 3+ decades, in fact. I'm teaching children of children who went by, so I'm very familiar with the ebb and flow of education and enjoy it very much. I enjoy the kids. That's what keeps me in the business. And I am kind of like Alistair. I like to find things, and I like to share and basically, you know, have teachers and students take off with that little nugget and do with it what they wish. So that's, and of course, being a librarian, I just love to read, and I'm still pushing books, whether they're print or ebooks. Ebooks are not really kind to us librarians because they won't let us lend them out. But fortunately, our community of children love books, so I'm definitely pushing that all the time. So that's
Very
me,
cool.
pretty plain, but definitely passionate about what I do.
I just took a quick look at your YouTube channel, Linda, and you've been doing tons of stuff, like through Hangouts there, like walkthroughs and introductions of different services on the net. That's
Oh, I forgot to tell
amazing.
you. Yeah, I am a Google maniac. I think I might have mentioned that in the show. So I went for a Google certified teacher and was, honored to be selected because it's hard to get in for that.
Can't you just say a couple of words about what that is all about?
Google certified teacher is a 2-day program that they have different ones. They used to have it like once a year. Now it's they're going all over the world. The last one is in the Philippines, and I think they're having one coming up in Austin, Texas. And it's an academy that lasts 2 days, and you get to know it's a snapshot of what Google is doing at the time and also what's coming up. And then the best thing about it is you become part of this group of people who are very supportive of one another. And are in the know as far as Google is concerned. So I went to New York in 2012, and several of the people that they choose 50. It's kind of competitive to be chosen. They choose 50 people to go. Teachers, librarians, administrators. You don't even have to be in a school. I think there might be even people from companies, but that's pretty rare. And yeah, you come together and learn and become part of that group. So all those people are like me. They're very enthusiastic about changing the world with Google. And so recently, I had been thinking about it for a while. How come I'm talking about myself? This is not supposed to be happening.
That happened because I asked you, Linda.
Okay. I'm going to almost be finished.
That's how Hangouts work.
I know. You're very sneaky, Niilo.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah. So it took me a couple of years to think about whether I wanted to do the training part, because that's much more technical. It's not so much, it is kind of, you have to be picked, but it's not as selective as the other. And much more technical, and so I took the 6 tests that are required, 5 tests that are required now, and they keep changing it, and then you have to apply. So just like the certified teacher, you have to send in a video, You have to give them proof of tutorials you've done. So that's why you see all those tutorials, Niilo. It's because of
got it.
the teacher and the trainer thing. So yeah, and actually I helped out Holly at the Haiku School as part of my plan for the certification. So yeah, it's all definitely involved in the Google world, and I believe them as a company that can make a huge difference. Doing good.
I can just add briefly from my point of view that I implemented Google Apps for Education, the free cloud service here at my school last year. I guess I got it started. Mainly because I just realized that the workflow we had here between colleagues, between students and teachers, just wasn't working. It's complete really, really awful. Even though we had been using the net and laptops for quite a while. We are one-to-one school, so each and everyone has his or her own computer, teachers, students. But I mean, it's been working really, really well, especially now with the new add-on, the classroom thing. But in general terms, of course, I guess we all are aware that well, especially the huge U.S. tech companies have been receiving quite a lot of blowback due to the surveillance scandals, and that's in a way it's kind of a shame, since I think that discussion has somehow been blown out of proportion, actually, in many cases.
Any other
But
thoughts?
especially using cloud services in Europe, that's a really, really tough one, and in some countries it's basically impossible. In Sweden it's still complicated, getting better though. But like in Germany, I think they are completely out of luck in case the servers aren't located within the country borders.
There's a big, I mean, the Swedish debate about using cloud services in schools has been going on quite a while, and actually recently the oh, I don't know what I'm not sure what it is in English. The sort of the government authority responsible for IT and sort of computing questions about integrity and identity and so on.
You mean the Swedish one?
Yeah,
I think it's referred to as DPA, Data Protection Agency.
Data Protection Agency. Yeah, they've said quite clearly that schools using Google Apps for Education are actually risking breaking the law, and there's divided opinions, and so there are many authorities like Niilo's who are using it already, and have done a lot of work on the legal side trying to check if it's okay. But
mind you guys, my pilot has nothing to do with the school district here.
Ah, okay.
It's just something started by me and my previous principal at my school, and that's a huge distinction, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are many fairly large cities, Malmö, Helsingborg, and some others who have implemented completely across the board Google Apps for Education, and now they're getting a bit of flack from the authority, who are then saying that they have not followed the law completely. So the jury is still out on this one, and the story goes on. But there's a lot of technical legal issues here. I mean, it's not on the board at all at universities. There's no university making any moves in that direction, as far as I know, because we're all very afraid.
Using Google Apps?
Yep.
I thought there were a couple of universities doing that in Sweden.
No, some have implemented it that they use Google. They give Gmail accounts to students. That's as far as it goes, really, but not using Google Apps for Education as a platform. No.
Okay. By the way, Alistair, you being in Umeå right now, are you aware of that they have implemented Google Apps within compulsory education as well?
Yep. They're one of the strongholds.
Wow. Is it a privacy issue? What is the complication?
It's privacy. It's about the fact that student data is being stored on computers that are outside the EU. Even if they are in the EU, as Google promised, I think they're in Ireland or something. But do the rules for storage follow Swedish law and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's not just about the location of servers either.
No.
It's kind of complicated. Really, there are several issues connected to that, and some of those issues, and well, in my view, the legislation about that, the Swedish legislation, is basically outdated.
Yep.
And that's why there's such a complete mess in this area. Still, after, just like Alistair said, after several years, still it's a big mess. What do you think, Kim, about this? You got some insight as well.
Yeah, that's definitely it. There's a sort of willful misinterpretation of the law, I think, from this. They're not trying to be helpful. They're just covering their own behinds, to use a nice word. And they're not trying to help. This is a free service, and Google is actually working quite hard to accommodate these laws and they have accommodated the laws in EU centrally. And Sweden should be following laws of EU and should be good with it, but they're not yet.
And it's kind of important to realize in this context that talking about cloud services in the education context, it's not just about Google. It's about any cloud services. I mean, these global offerings. The situation is exactly the same. So in many cases, you hear, at least in my home turf, there is this focus on Google, perhaps because they are, I don't know, perhaps because they got the most attractive offerings right now. But it's not just about them.
Biggest operation in world history.
But I feel that this is a playground of big businesses, and there are so many stakeholders and those who want to have a piece of it. And in Finland, there are so many people building their own environments and trying to get a piece, and they're all means are allowed. So it's they can get up with all kinds of espionage things and schemes and put them forward through their own networks and channels and so on. So I just, I feel that we live in this open world and it can't be changed anymore. We can't go back into the very, very closed private systems anymore. So it's just a bullshit to think about that.
We must censor that. Do you realize that, Tina?
You go to China if you want to
She's from Finland.
She's from Finland, for heaven's sake. So am I, by the way, but I just try to keep a low profile.
American thing, yeah. This is not in Finland. We can say whatever we want. Sorry.
So the system is different.
You folks realize we got all these spooks listening, not just National Security Agency. And now I said the really bad word, but I mean we got here in Sweden the what are they called? FRA. FRA. They are listening as well. Who are the guys in Finland? I don't know. They must be listening there too, huh?
Wow, that's kind of scary to me.
I think we should be a little bit. I think sometimes we risk I wonder if some of us in the education business are a little bit blue-eyed about it all. We're very. I mean, I'm also very enthusiastic. Openness is one of the things I work with a lot. Open educational resources and so on and so on. But let's not forget that these organizations, let's not love them too much. I respect what you were saying about Google and being a certified educator and so on, but these are this big business we're talking about. They are not in it to be complete. I'm not saying that they're doing nasty stuff or so on, but let's face it, they're there for big bucks. It is mega bucks we're talking about. These are gigantic operations. There's the argument that, I mean, you've heard data is the new oil, and I believe there's a lot in I mean, basically we haven't managed to refine the oil yet, but basically all these companies, they want our clicks, and they want our clicks because it's crude oil. And when they start refining the crude oil, then we're going to see very profitable products coming out. Now that could be for the good. It could well be excellent, interesting projects. We're looking at the learning analytics, which is the next big, enormous boom area. But it can also be used negatively. It can be used for surveillance, and we've seen with NSA and all that. Of course, they're watching us and they're recording. They're not sitting in a room somewhere watching this, because they've got better things to do. But there's enormous data there's programs checking, looking for keywords, listening in, analyzing, and this is going to increase. So that, I mean, the argument, you know, if it's free, then you're the product. I do believe that there's a lot of truth in that, and we in education should be a little bit careful about how much we love these services. Maybe it's good to be a little agnostic. That was my little negative comment on this discussion, but I generally agree with you all.
Amen to that, really, Alistair. And as to my tiny part in this, using, in this case, the free Google Cloud services in education. So the only information about myself, well, I'm out there, you know, like completely since the dawn of time. But myself, my colleagues, and especially my students, the only information I've punched in is first name and the first letter of the last name. That's about it. No address, no age, gender, shoe number, no nothing. That's about it. And I don't know. But yeah, you pretty much nailed it, Alistair. I think it's important what you're saying. Balanced view.
Okay, just one more point of view to this, not about the security or the espionage thing or the surveillance thing, but of course, as European Commission realized a long time ago, that teachers are a very good way of sort of marketing new technologies and new things. So where each teacher who has maybe 200 students and makes them use certain providers' products or tools, sort of passes is a very important link in this, and that's why we teachers are treated so nicely, and we get all these.
Are we treated nicely, Tina? By whom? Tell me.
There is no free lunch, you know. There are no free lunches. Somebody pays for them or gets the profit out of them, and so this is one point, and in EU they're using it to spread the idea of connectedness and connecting cultures and sort of enhancing intercultural communication and so on. But you can also enhance it to use certain technologies and to promote certain providers of technologies.
I'd like to hear a little bit
from Linda. When you get this bunch of people on board, you just can't control it in any way.
No, it's really fascinating because I never thought of it in certain ways that you are. So it's great. It's opening my eyes for sure. I'm still a Google maniac. Sorry, Alistair.
Never change, please.
All right. The way it's set up at our school, I mean, there's my little tiny world, is that we don't force anything on anyone. So even though I'm the Google Apps maniac, that doesn't mean our entire school is. And we definitely have, just like we're a microcosm of the world. You know, some of our teachers don't even have a Gmail, even though we're a Google Apps school. So yeah, I think that openness and the being able to say no, I'm not going to be a part of that is important as well. You wouldn't want, you know, whole hog on something necessarily. You definitely want, and the teachers, I think, are aware that that you know, it's all about money in a lot of different ways. I think the teachers are aware of it, and I'm hoping that they are, and I know most of them are, thinking about what's solid for education, trying to find that nugget, you know, that they can use. And yes, maybe they'll use Google, maybe not, but they'll have whatever that vision is, and be able to. And most of the time, technology can change and possibly even transform, and that makes it a plus. But there are teachers who don't use technology, and they are wonderful teachers. So.
Yeah, but they are missing quite a bit. And if you're not using technology today, then I think I'm kind of sorry for the students of those teachers in a way, even though they might be superb teachers. You know?
Yeah. Well, they end up using it because they have to. There is no other choice. But what I'm saying is they're not the early adapters all the time.
Well, yeah, that's another story, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your situation, Linda, is pretty much the opposite of ours.
Ah.
Our school organization is 11,000 students, and primary and secondary school with about 1,000 teachers, and it's compulsory. There's no other way to communicate pretty much with the kids. There are.
What is compulsory, Kim? Sorry.
You have to use it.
The Google
Have
Apps.
to use what?
Google Apps. It's the only way, because what you can do is we have a system where all the material for the courses are available in another place. Online, we have something called a knowledge portal, kunskapsporten. But there you can't communicate with the students. So
or with the outside world, I guess.
Over the outside world. So at the very least, you have to use Gmail to communicate online, unless you go back and actually use papers. But Google Drive is what we use, what we push to implement, and it's been improving the workflow in an immense way for everyone who's tried it. And we're sort of slowly teaching the teachers and the students how to optimize their use of it, to make it even easier and better to use. There's, like you said before, there's no turning back. It's not possible. We are putting in projectors in every classroom. You can't go back. It's not possible. I've been using smartboards for several years, and then I switched school, and they didn't even have projectors in the room. I was so handicapped. Totally. I had to, every session, I had to book a special room where they did have projectors to even do my classes.
And the interesting part here is also that, again, talking about cloud services, these globally available from the commercial huge companies like, you know, Microsoft, Google, Apple is coming big time soon. Even though Apple services, I think are run by Microsoft actually. Anyway, like obviously, most teachers are desperate. You know, like they need to have tools that function well in the daily work with the students. And all of a sudden, well, during a couple of years, I guess, these tools have become slowly available. And now we've got them. And still, there is this huge difference if you have implemented whatever tools you are using properly. like say school-wide, or if you are using whatever mishmash of private accounts. They are two complete different worlds. And what I found, at least in my neck of the woods, is that actually very few teachers understand the difference. You know, like I guess pretty much every school in Sweden is using cloud services in one way or another. And mostly, I guess, people are using private accounts. There is no control of anything. It's like, you know, the Wild West completely. So getting back into this discussion about the Swedish legislation, so it doesn't have any meaning any longer, since the school do what they want anyway, even though when they do it using private accounts and whatnot, it's complete chaos.
Oh.
I'd like to. I wonder a little question here. In the university world, at least, the learning management system, or VLE, or whatever you want to call it, is still king. And basically everything that goes on in courses at my university and most others is run through things like Moodle, Blackboard, It's Learning, and so on and so on. But I have a feeling that those systems are disappearing in the school world, and I wonder quickly, how are any of you using an LMS?
Tina has lots of experience about Moodle, for example. But isn't Moodle basically for distance education? I don't see Moodle as a tool to use with the students in the classroom.
No, it's completely for it's used. We have it for all courses, because it's basically where all the course information is there. That's where the dialogue, the information, examination takes place, grading takes place. You know, the lot. It's an
I know very few schools using Moodle in Sweden, or actually in Northern Europe, like on day-to-day basis.
I think in Finland we almost all schools have some kind of a virtual learning environment, and of course not every teacher uses it, so that's the problem, that they're not used very efficiently, but they do exist, and personally I've been using Moodle and been an admin of my own Moodles. I have had several for 12 years, quite from the beginning of Moodle, and I've always found it very, very, very logical and very good, especially if you teach in a system where you teach courses. So you can build a whole course consisting of maybe 6 modules or 6 weeks, and you can build each week and have a whole learning process built in there with different kinds of tools, like Alistair said. There can be discussion forums and journal for making your own learning diary and exams and so on, commenting wikis but lately I've been using more sort of linked Google tools in Moodle, because I feel that Google Docs are better for collaborative work than many of the Moodle's tools. But it's just very simple to add a link and give instructions and do this, and that's good with Moodle, that you can use any tools outside, Padlets or whatever you wish, and just link them and make the learning process logical and whole. And I think that's and you can open them in the order you like and so on. So I think it's basically that's the idea of learning. And of course, if you are away for some reason, the students can do it by themselves. They can do it at home. They can do it at school. whatever you decide. So it's very, very flexible, and I think if we want to get away from very rigid textbook learning, so that's the way to get out, because you can always add new materials and take off old ones and so on. I think it's marvelous. I really am. I like that, but I like my freedom, sort of picking up the best tools ever, and I think Google apps are very, very good in that environment.
What
It's
about
also
Holly and
interesting.
Linda? I'd like to hear what the situation is in the schools there.
Where is this, in Hawaii?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, Holly?
Yeah. Let me.
Oops, muted.
We
Okay,
lost
yeah,
you.
got it. Sorry, it took me a minute. Well, I am in a very small library, the very small library, and the school is kindergarten through 5th grade, which is 5 through 10, age 10, and there's just like 500 students in the whole school. We have and because it's such a small library, I only have like 3 computers in the library, and the tech coordinator is the one. There's a computer lab, and she wasn't able to make it tonight, but she does most of the technology. We are just now getting Google into the school, and we're doing that because I came to Google Hangouts and listened to Linda say how wonderful Google was. So we have just gotten it in, and we've gotten the Google Calendar and Gmail accounts for everybody, and we're just getting on board. Everybody's just learning how to use the Google Calendar, so we're going to wean ourselves into it a bit by bit, a little bit at a time. So first we just have to get everybody used to using the Google Calendar, and then we'll get all fancy and try apps and other wonderful things. So we're just all learning right now.
And then the state of Hawaii is, I wouldn't say, you can't say they're going Google Apps, but it's one of, forget what the name of the program is, but it's one of the things that they're training teachers with. So they are doing a statewide learning of Google Apps. The Department of Education, we're one state, and there are 50 different states that do different things. I guess there are certain federal things like the Common Core, and Hawaii is kind of into that. Again, it's that what do we do as a state? The entire country is not on the same thing. You knew that already, but in the case of the Department of Education, YouTube is banned in the schools.
Oops.
Yeah. Pinterest. Well, I don't know about Pinterest. YouTube.
Well, because we're a elementary school, just about everything's banned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the teachers are trying to get around that, and you talked about personal Gmail accounts. So I wish Michelle Colt was here, because she uses her personal account to get her kids involved in really wonderful types of projects. So, and I'm thinking that the DOE is loosening up a little bit. I think they fear it. How do you control it? We want the kids to be doing nothing bad, that sort of thing. So, it's an ongoing discussion about freedom, but the teachers themselves are definitely interested in learning different tools and how to do that, and that the COPA, the Child Privacy Act, nationwide has affected us. How do we deal with it? We don't know. I mean, are we doing the right thing? I mean, you guys talked about privacy and how do you know if you're breaking the law or not? We don't really know. So you go on and do what you can for teaching because you know it's solid for yourself, and get the permission slips from the parents and all of that. Try to cover yourself. Yeah, I think, Kim, you're right that we can't go back. It's just let's do the best get the best out of this system. Of course, it's going to have bad things, and we have to be aware of that. But it's just too powerful in a good way to say, we're not going to do it. And I wanted to clarify what I said about the teachers. The students are into Google Apps big time. You just tell them do this, and they know all about it. But there are some teachers, the adults are it's a little bit harder for us adults to get into it. So a lot of times they'll say to the students, you can use Google Apps or you can use something else, and the students end up using Google Apps because it's so intuitive.
It's really interesting, by the way, talking about still the various global cloud services being made available by huge commercial actors. I hear really often the question from colleagues, from parents, so, okay, this stuff is all free for education. Amazing. Where is the catch? What is the catch? Yeah. And for my part, I think the catch is, Elstar, like I said, you nailed it. It's all about big money. And yeah, they are giving all this stuff away for altruistic reasons. I doubt that a little bit. And what might be the catch? Well, the catch might be something like, these students and perhaps young teachers as well, they get used to working in a very efficient, collaborative way using these services. Guess what kind of services they want to use when they have their future jobs, They want to use the same services. Yeah. I think that's the catch.
You are the product. That's important, and I think it is vital. Listening to Holly, from the kindergarten level, from the very youngest, we have to work with the students in getting them to think about their digital identity. We're playing with fire. We're playing with dynamite here, and some people have no idea how dangerous it can be. And you see every single day crazy scandals, and interestingly, not so much with young people. They're people our age who do the most irresponsible, idiotic things. Yeah, how people could tweet some of the rubbish that these celebrities get in trouble for. How can you be so stupid? But it's beyond comprehension. But there's a naivety about this, and I think there's a lot of teachers doing good work with this, and we need all to work with it and have a continuing discussion about: is it okay to publish this? What does it mean when I click that button? When you tweet, it's for keeps. The minute you've tweeted that, you cannot regret it. That is dynamite. And if you're in a public role, if you're a public figure in any way, whatever you tweet, you reckon it could go viral in seconds. And, okay, that's not going to happen to all of us. But I think the students have got to know about integrity, privacy, keeping the settings the right way, thinking of your digital footprints, and taking care of that so that, when future employers Google you or whatever, they're not going to find a lot of pictures of you with your, dancing in a fountain and completely drunk, or stupid party photographs, or, do you really want the world to see this? If not, keep it private. It's a discussion in every single classroom.
And adding to this, it's also interesting how often I hear, or how often this discussion pops up that, so how can I keep my stuff private on the net? When I'm using whatever, Facebook or Twitter, or, oh, okay, this is the setting. This is the magical setting to keep my stuff private. Of course, that's the way things are. Just, like you say, Elstar, anything, as soon as you connect your computer to the internet, you are public, or you just might be. So I mean, using the internet and imagining that there is this hidden setting somewhere that guarantees your privacy, that's just baloney.
Yes,
But
nothing is private.
I think that this kind of the idea of identity is changing. Everything is changing, so you can't think that that the idea of identity remains the same or eternally the same. And if you go few years or 10 or 100 years back, it was, for example, our women's identities were defined by the men next to them, by their fathers and by their husbands and so on. But now your identities are defined very much more and more by the internet and by the social network, and you can create different kinds of identities in different kinds of social networks and so on, and it's floating and it's changing. It's much more sort of flexible, and there are, of course, we can see the dangers in that, but we can also see that that it is something that is profoundly changing of the way we consider ourselves, and you can see on the social network, you can see people who, you can see that they don't feel they exist if they don't exist if they don't always update their profiles on Facebook, or if they don't tweet constantly and they follow how many followers they have, and it's kind of a playing. It's not only work for them. It's a lifestyle, and it's a question of identity, and we can't just say that this is negative. Of course, it has very strong negative consequences if it's not understood and analyzed, and this is something that should be part of education at school to see how these social networks, how they work and how they affect you and how they control you. It's not just you controlling them, but it's them controlling you, and how you build your identity and so on. But this is something it's important for us not to just judge, but to understand and talk about and
about creating about making people aware of it.
Tina, where do you get all this good stuff from? Do you have a script there somewhere?
By listening you and Alistair and Linda, and it's a process of interaction. This kind of thing happens when you interact with people. Right?
Amazing stuff. It must be the internet, huh?
I have to run off now, I'm afraid. So thanks, everyone. I've got to get to work.
Well, thanks for coming up.
Say hi to the folks in Umeå, Alastair.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks
bye
for all
bye.
the talk. Bye. Take care.
And
Wow, this
I'm
been one
going
quick hour, I'm telling you guys.
It was a quick hour.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tina.
Okay, so I'm going to Tallinn, and I tell everyone hello from you, greetings from Hawaii. They will be very, very interested when they heard that I've been talking to Hawaii this morning. I'm going into an expert meeting there. But see you
very
soon
good.
in Be Smart on Air and
Thank
so on.
Thank you so
for
much.
inviting me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So what an interesting hour. It didn't go at all what I thought. Niilo.
What a surprise, Linda.
I'm going to
What
go
a
back
surprise.
to the event and change it to something else. I can't figure out
Didn't I warn you, Linda?
Yeah.
Inviting all these people? It always gets out of hand,
Oh, it's fantastic. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, I learn every time I do I host, I learn something. So, and it expands. Like, this came out of getting on your show, and look what happened. We're kind of friends now. I kind of like it.
Me too. I definitely like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We must get back more to Hangout specifics as well, and I think get Jennifer Sheffer connected as well.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, she and I actually did some work together.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. But we both come a long way from that. But yeah, I'm still very much interested in getting students involved in the Hangouts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in fact, next week I think we're going to have one. It's going to be about book clubs.
Cool.
Yeah, virtual and real. So the
Mhm.
librarian in me just keeps plugging away with that.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So we are past the hour, and we're going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Niilo and Kim and Alistair. I didn't get a chance to really thank him, and also Tina. Truly international, and love being connected. This is actually one of our shows that we're doing for Connected Educator Month, and we have it set up there so that people can enjoy it as well. So I just love the journey that we've gone through, and continuing on. We'll just see what happens next. So, any
It's
parting
been a
thoughts,
great
Niilo?
pleasure. Great pleasure being with you, Linda, and all the guys here. I love this stuff too. It's just blows the mind. Best
Yes,
professional development I've ever experienced. Really.
right. And it's like you're next door. It's that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
good of
It's
a
crazy. There
It
are
is
a couple of
great.
100 miles between us in the physical world, but this virtual one works pretty well as well.
It
I just might plug the next episode of Be Smart on Air, and it's set
do.
to was it Kim? November 10, I think.
Sounds good.
I think let's see, November 10. And there's no event yet, but it will be in a couple of days, and as usual, it will be published in every conceivable way. So hope to see all you guys there as well.
That's great. Great. Nice to see you, Kim. Any parting words, Kim? You look like you're doing
No.
work over there.
I'll go wrap up and head off to work, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
And us to evening stuff. You guys are doing morning stuff.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure, and we will do it again. And
Absolutely.
so, yes.
Thank you. It was nice meeting everyone.
Yes, same here. So, signing off for now. Aloha, everyone.